because it's already 1:02. Oh, sorry, 11:02. In the meantime, people can join. And first of all, my apologies. My camera is not working, technical issue. So I cannot turn on my camera. Um, so good morning, everyone. And I am Anjali Yadav, VP IFI. And I will be hosting along with my colleague Ankur for the next 20 minutes, next 90 minutes. So we have 33 people in this meeting so far, and the number is going up. Um, so today's session is called From AI Tools to AI Teammates, Rethinking Work in the Agentic Era. And I promise you by 12:30, those words will mean something very concrete and very practical to you. So one important thing before we dive in, so we are live on YouTube as well. So if you have a colleague or friend who cannot join the call due to Zoom limitation or miss the registration link, they can join or they can still watch this stream. Pankaj, we have started, right? Yeah, it's there. So, all right then. 2 minutes of housekeeping. I know housekeeping is the least glamorous word in any event agenda. But stay with me because some of this actually matters. So, the number one, keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. We love you, but we do not need to hear your dog, your doorbell, or any enthusiastic typing. So, mute always. Thank you. And then, second item is chat and raise your hands. So, given we have so many people in this meeting and people are still joining, so we don't want to make it a mess. So, use the chat throughout. Questions, reactions, light bulb moments, all are welcome. If you want to speak, hit raise hand and we will bring you in during Q&A. The third item, we strongly encourage a stable connection and a quiet environment. If your internet drops, simply rejoin. We'll be here. Four, part of today are hands on and interactive. So do not just sit back and lean. The people will get most of out of this session are always the one who will fully show up. Five, I strongly want to emphasize about the decorum for this meeting or for this session. We are a community of professionals and curious minds. So please be respectful towards our speaker, towards our audience, and towards each other, no matter how basic it might seem. So even if there are any dumb questions, there are no dumb questions. Just feel free to raise your hand and ask those. So housekeeping is done, and it was not that bad, was it? So now let me set the stage for why we all are here today. So we have spent the last few years talking about AI as a tool. Sometimes you prompt, sometimes that helps you write faster and better, summarize smarter, and automate a task here. And honestly, that has been useful. But these days, something bigger is happening. AI is no longer just answering your questions, it's starting to participate in your work. Reasoning, planning, executing across complex, multi step workflows. Not just a tool in your hand, a teammate at your table. So today's session is your practical guide to understanding that shift and to finding where it matters most in your context. So before we go further, it is my genuine honor to invite someone whose leadership and vision made today's event possible. Please join me in warmly welcoming our President Tarun for his opening remarks. Tarun, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Anjali. I'll not take much of time. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of IIT Alumni Canada, I warmly welcome all attendees, IITAC board members, volunteers, and our distinguished speaker, Mr. Subodh Kumar, the founder and CEO of Brisk AI, an alumnus of IIT Bombay and Harvard Business School alumnus. He brings 18 plus years of experience across strategy, technology, and AI informations, and an author of an amazing book, Agentic AI for Leaders. This workshop promises to be highly engaging to help all of us better understand the opportunities created by Agentic AI. Wishing you all a very insightful and productive session. Thank you very much. Over to Anjali.
Thanks, Tarun. That was an inspiring and grounding way to open our session. So we are grateful for your leadership and the community you have helped build around these ideas. So it's now the moment I know you have all been waiting for. So I would like to invite Subodh to start the session. Subodh, the stage is yours now.
Thanks, Anjali, and thanks the leadership team for organizing it, for inviting. I know it's been lot of effort at your end. Thank you, and welcome everyone. Good morning. My name is Subodh, and thanks to the kind words by Anjali and Tarun in already introducing. So I think that definitely does a lot of work in the upfront. But I think like Anjali mentioned, so the focus for today's session is really to demystify agentic AI. So we all have been hearing about agentic AI, some bit of hype, some bit of like, hey, is it too technical? So the session today really focuses on demystifying and providing a structured toolkit to everyone to really get started, to start discovering opportunities in your own world and start building. So I'm sharing my screen. Just want to ensure, like, is it on full screen? Just wanted to see. Can you guys? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So I think I won't go much into introductions like Tarun already mentioned. So, but very briefly, so based here in Burlington, beyond the professional world. So, and an IIT Bombay alumnus, graduated in 2007, and spent about 18 years working with management consulting firms, oil and gas, and technology sectors. And more recently have been leading my own venture called Brisk AI, wherein we partner with organizations to drive AI transformation, be it about building their AI strategies, discovering the use cases, or actually going and embedding agents in the actual workflows. And to get us started, so very briefly, like here's the agenda for today. First, we will go through what is agentic AI shift in very practical terms, and then we'll dive little deeper into what it entails from the technology or capabilities perspective. But the whole session today would be, I would say, less of technology because honestly, like more relevance to all of us is about what are the implications of agentic AI, how do you use it, and that's where the second agenda item is 0 to 1 playbook. How do you get started? So that's where I will introduce a proprietary framework that I have developed organically through the work called Spot, that you can all actually try in a hands-on session as well today to discover what are the opportunities in your role, in your team. And thirdly, another hands-on activity into building agents. And we will use a simple tool today like Google's Gems. But the idea is to really give an exposure, and maybe I'll showcase like on ChatGPT also how you can create some agents, just so that everyone feels confident enough to go back and use whatever tools the organizations are providing, whether it's Microsoft. The fundamentals are the same. It's just about getting started, right? And throughout the session, please feel free to raise your hand in the Zoom way, and I think the team will help to kind of bring out those questions. Else, we will also have time towards the end for this Q&A. All right. So first to get started, I thought I'll take an example like to really illustrate what is agentic AI shift all about. I thought I'll take an example from a very traditional industry, oil and gas. It's an industry I have spent like almost 10 years, More than that, I thought everyone as a IIT engineer, so we can relate to it to some extent, right? So imagine Mark 10 years back, Mark as a production engineer on call in an oil and gas field. So his job is anything goes wrong, he gets a trigger. So let's say 2 a.m. and a pump trips. Now everyone is looking at Mark to really find the solution because the production is on halt in a plant. So Mark spends 4 hours, next 4 hours to really dig through the data to really reconstruct what happened and what should be the solution that he can give to the operating team to get it back in production. 4 hours are taken, he finds a solution, but lots of production is lost. And more than that, Mark is exhausted by the end of this. And this is not just one time, right? It's happening time and again in his life. So that was 10 years back, and that was the era of manual operations, wherein the engineers were not just engineers, they were the firefighters, right? Fast forward 5 years, Mark's life improved a little bit. His company implemented these machine learning techniques. So what they do is rather than waiting for the fail point, right, and pump trips, Mark gets a trigger in advance that, hey, okay, there is a 2 hours window for this pump to fail. So he gets it in advance. From a company perspective, things are a lot better because production is not lost, team can work ahead of time. But Mark's life is still firefighting, right? He still has to dig through the data, still needs to come with the solutions and act on those. Now, fast forward to today, scenario is totally different. Mark gets a digital teammate powered by AI. This digital teammate not only alerts him about the upcoming issues, it actually goes through multiple data sources that Mark would otherwise have gone and does all the grunt work to really present a solution that, hey, these are the new set of parameters that you should set for this pump so that the production doesn't get lost. Click of a button and the new set of parameters are set. So that's the agentic AI era, wherein your digital teammates are going beyond a traditional tool that you would use to really do a lot of grunt work before you can take action, right? And oil and gas is not the only industry, or operations is not the only role, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's one of the more traditional industries, but we have worked with a client on a very similar use case. And if you think of the same scenario, you would see across different functions, every function has a mark. Think of a product manager in a technology company, or a financial analyst in an investment firm, or a claim specialist in an insurance firm. What we are seeing is the work is shifting from doing to reviewing, right? So that's a big fundamental shift that's happening. And that is, in practical terms, what agentic AI is, right? So just wanted to set this context. And before we go deeper into like putting a definition around it, looking at what are the core underlying capabilities for agentic AI, what I think would really help is if we can do maybe this anonymized pulse check to see like where we all stand in the group, right? Like as a group, where do we stand on this? Three simple questions, should take maybe like 30 seconds of time. Yeah, so you can scan this barcode and I'll bring up my screen then maybe in 30 seconds or a minute on the Google form, and we can maybe like take a look, and we can always bring it back during the Q&A session towards the end. If you guys need the QR code, please let me know. Or rather, I will need to bring it back there.
Maybe Subodh, considering the mixed age of the audience, if you can post that link into the chat, people
Oh
can
yeah,
just click the link.
thank you. Thank you. great. I see like we got almost like 1/3 of the responses already. And yeah, this is a really interesting mix. I know the responses are still coming in, but really interesting mix that and I'm seeing it with other forums as well. And honestly, this is probably a little bit more advanced that ways, like we all being maybe from engineering backgrounds, that I can see around 30% of the audience, right? Even using AI actively in the core work, where I am seeing in a lot of the industries, people are using it for base productivity tasks, and that too not on a regular basis. So that's really good. And I see like some folks at least like have also tried their hands at building custom agents. So that's fabulous. And just so that everyone kind of gets the same view, right? It's anonymized, but like where as a group we feel AI's value is really in automation replacing the task, like that comes to mind first. AI making decisions on my behalf, right? And the risk and control definitely is a key thing. And we will also see through the activities that we do, especially the agent building, that AI is eventually probabilistic, right? So definitely there are risks, and the governance is key. And then, yeah, in terms of the blockers, I say it's kind of fairly well distributed. And rightly so. I think we are still early in the journey. So whether it's a skill gap, whether it's the right tools, and the tools are also evolving every day. I mean, the last week's or maybe this week's Google I/O event, we could see a lot of the agent building that we will see. A lot of this is getting inbuilt into the tools that we anyways use, right? So from the scale, from the time bandwidth, I think a lot of issues are going to get resolved on their own. So it's more about like really building that AI fluency from a mindset perspective. So that's great. And governance, absolutely. Like even now, even with the mid-tier companies that I'm working, like with one of the FMCG companies here in Toronto as well, I see CEOs are more bothered about that. Hey, we have given the tools to our employees, but I really don't want everyone to just go and start using in a chaotic manner. Like, how do we really put the governance, whether it's a data governance, whether it's risk that the AI brings. So that's wonderful. Now let's go back. Like I said, so we saw the example of Mark. We saw how it's manifesting in other functions. Now let's see what agentic AI is if we go into a little bit more theoretical or like kind of definitional perspective, right? So agentic AI can refer to typically like it will refer to the systems that can reason, plan, and act to achieve a defined goal. So that's in nutshell what agentic AI is, right? And what really lies underneath, like what enables these systems to reason, plan, act. Now let's look into that briefly. So you can think of it as four key building blocks or the four key capabilities that an agentic AI system in a true sense has, right? Number one, it's a reasoning and planning capabilities. So uh, and that is enabled by this underlying foundational models, the large language models, right? Whether it's the OpenAI's models, Claude, Anthropic, right, or any of the open source models. What these large language models do is they have really shifted, expanded the envelope beyond the traditional machine learning models. So rather than a point solution, let's say a model is trained for face detection or a model is trained for fraud detection, right? These large language models are trained on enormous scale that they start to exhibit capabilities beyond what they are trained at. So the same model you could apply for maybe one use case versus the other. So you could literally use the same models, and they have amazing capabilities to really break down a goal that you give, to really plan what it should go into, how it should go and solve that particular problem, right? So that's the first pillar, which is reasoning and planning abilities enabled by large language models, which in very fast are becoming a lot more commoditized, honestly. Like as a developer, and what you would see is you build your application and you can plug in almost any large language model and maybe do a little bit of prompt tweaking, and you can get those same kind of abilities of the overall application, agentic application, right? So that's the reasoning and planning capabilities. Second piece integral to any agentic AI system is the ability to use tools, and that's been a game changer because without the access to tools or its ability to use tools, and when I say tools, let's say a system that can, let's say, use connect to your Gmail and maybe send emails on your behalf, right? Or it can connect to your CRM, and as you input some data or maybe from your meeting transcripts, it automatically updates the CRM about the deal status, right? Or simple tools like, let's say, internet browsing. So these large language models are very uh, well at really using the tools to take action on your behalf. So that's the second piece. Third piece is the context. So in agentic applications, the key thing is all about memory and ongoing learning, so that the decisions are not really taken in isolation, right? So that's when we are designing these agentic systems. Memory is the key, and sometimes you can even call it like a knowledge base, because so that it doesn't just answer from the global data set that it's given, it can answer from maybe your company's context. So think of a customer service use case. You can maybe feed it the knowledge base, which can have return policies, which can have your product descriptions. And when the customer is asking questions, the agent would actually apply its reasoning and refer to the context that it's given to really answer those questions, right? So that's a critical piece. And the fourth and really most important piece, I would say, is the governance piece. Because AI models, large language models, we have seen tons of examples now wherein they can go beyond what they're supposed to do. So setting the guardrails is one of the key aspects of any good agentic AI system, right? So that you can define what it's supposed to do and where it should escalate matters to human or simply decline to take certain actions. Right. So that's in nutshell, I would say, what agentic AI systems comprise of. And when you think of it in another way, right, these are the systems that can think, that can act, they can remember, and they can operate within boundaries. So think of it, that's just like any other teammate that's working with you, right? The teammate that joins the team, they can have bring their own independent thinking. They know how to use certain tools, right? They are trained on the organizational context, which is the memory part, and they are told the organizational governance policies that, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're not supposed to do. So that's where these AI systems start to become like a teammate. Cool. And when this transition happens, I just wanted to bring up like three examples. Then the impact is not incremental anymore. It's really transformative. We are seeing it in some of the companies already now, which are publicizing broadly, and many more which are really getting these benefits at a grassroots level. So three examples from three different functions, I would say, even if the companies, couple of these are tech companies. But from a functional perspective, you can see like Salesforce very publicly, they are kind of conveying about 85% of their customer service inquiries being handled by agentic AI, or Chipotle. So, in their pursuit of fast growth across 3,500 plus locations, they were struggling to really hire the frontline staff. So that's where they actually built their own agent. It's called Avocado, I believe. So that's to really facilitate that faster hiring, to orchestrate the some of the early stages of the hiring process till the interview stages arrive. Or think of Google, wherein not only that they are automating the code generation, but engineers or agents are actually working together now to really fast track some of the code migration. So, like for a company like Google as well, they are able to move at 6x the speed in certain tasks. And like on this, I think the key point is it's not only that agents are replacing the jobs, it's also about the human jobs are shifting. Like if I revisit the Salesforce example, right, where the company is actually investing into talent is now they have created new roles called agent managers, and there's a very recent HBR article. Maybe I can send the link afterwards. So these agent managers, they are specialized in customer service, but their job is now really to review the responses of these AI agents and continuously fine tune, right? So that's how the role of the humans are really reshaping in this agentic era. Now I know like some of these are very like high level examples, let's say customer service or coding. So that core question is that, hey, how do I really bring it back to my role, bring it back to my function, right? So that's where the next kind of section of our talk is about, which is the 0 to 1 playbook. Like, hey, I understand agentic AI, but how do I apply it? And that's where I would like to introduce this proprietary framework that I have developed organically through working with clients, whether it's across oil and gas, manufacturing, FMCG. Time and again, I have seen certain key patterns wherein these AI opportunities are emerging in any function, right? So that's where I thought I'll share the four key lenses as you start to kind of map out your workflows in your team to see where you could actually find opportunities to apply agents. So first is like as you map your workflows, and this is one of the lowest hanging fruits and also one of the more obvious ones that people look for. Like, hey, are there any standardized steps or pieces of the work which are either information heavy, which entail maybe interpretation by the staff, right? That's where LLM powered agents are really best placed to either serve as co-pilots or even automating a lot of this work. Because like we saw, with the power of LLMs, they can actually process the context a lot faster than humans. So I think that's where a lot of this customer service kind of use cases fall in. Think of any role, every role almost have some bit of reporting. Any kind of reports, like whether the underlying data is changing, that falls into this standardized work, which is one of the lowest hanging fruits that you should tackle, right? Second is proficiency bottlenecks. This is one of the use cases, like areas that I have seen people tend to think little less because many a times it may not be consuming as much time, but many times the decisions or the workflows get gated or bottlenecked, right? So think of examples. Let's say sales teams goes ahead, does a lot of sales, but now they're waiting for the legal team to review the contracts and close those deals, right? Or same things on the engineering side, I have seen in some of the companies wherein the teams are reliant on certain experts or team managers to really review the work. This is where agents come in handy as more of the accelerators to really help these experts move faster by maybe flagging what's the exception that they should pay more attention to. So less about automation, still human in the loop, but really solving for that expert bottlenecks. Third is the operational handoffs. This is where the tools access of the agents that we talked about really comes in handy. So think of any team, any role you would see the work actually gets slowed when it's cross team handoffs, when you are dependent on other teams, or maybe you get some inputs from other teams and there is a lot of back and forth, right? So that's where these orchestration agents kind of come in handy. On the building curve, definitely a little bit kind of more effort to build these, but think of examples. Let's say in an automobile sector, it's like engineering team designing some new components, and now they're passing on the requirements to procurement to run the RFQ. Right. So that's where I have seen a lot of back and forth. Procurement team is saying that, hey, we don't have complete scope available, right? Or can you share more details around it? So that's where if you have some past data, you train your agents on that, and the engineering team, as they prepare the output for the procurement team, it can be a lot more kind of better refined. And same thing, whether it's sales to delivery coordination after the deal is closed, how does the onboarding team really onboards the clients fast enough? So that's S, P, and O lenses. And the fourth one in the SPOT framework is the transformational impact. This is where you start to see like, hey, in my overall workflow, whether at a step level or overall, are there any way opportunities to really reimagine the whole work, right? An example here is like, again, I'm quoting a little bit more of oil and gas because that's been my bread and butter in the past. But one of the large oil and gas companies, so they have been working on this idea around that, hey, can we move away from these traditional simulations to find out where to drill the next wells and use these visual models like the next version of these large language models to cut down this months long of simulation time into maybe weeks of activity with the visual models, right? So that's an example of a really reimagining the whole workflow. Same thing as, let's say, in a customer onboarding for a B2B, any kind of B2B selling, can you really make it all autonomous, right? So that the customers are no longer reliant on your operational teams. So yeah, so net of it, I would say four lenses to really think a bit more holistically about where in your work you can find these AI opportunities. And to maybe like cap it off, I will share briefly about one case study. So we have worked with, like I said, sectors of in oil and gas. We have also worked with FMCG. I see time and again same pattern. Generally, it takes weeks to months of effort for the leadership team to really draw out, like, hey, what are the opportunities? Then let's go about and prioritize, right? Impact versus effort. Where this framework and the lenses really help is to think more holistically so that you don't miss out on this upfront brainstorming activity. So this large industrial client, so their projects cost estimation team, so they estimate about 200 to 300 million dollars worth of projects every year. And the core KPI here is one, how do they really estimate so many projects because they are limited by talent, like the sheer amount of people that are available. This client is a national oil company in Middle East. And the other thing is they don't have enough talent in the team to really bring that expertise, because if you don't challenge your engineering teams at this stage, they might just take some inputs, put it in a tool, share the estimates, and in the end when they're building those projects, they tend to overrun on the cost front, right? So we ran this exercise, looked at their whole workflow through these different lenses, and what we saw was they were spending about 20 to 30% of their time in a lot of these tedious works like data retrieval from the past, estimates, quotations, lot of reporting work that they had. So cumulatively was adding almost like 25 to 30% in their bandwidth. And then some of the areas that they hadn't really thought where AI could help, like the proficiency bottleneck, right? Because a lot of the times what they were analyzing was that, hey, we gave an estimate for projects, but why are they consistently overrunning? So there were issues that they could see. Maybe the engineering teams would tend to miss out on scope somewhere, and the estimators didn't have enough experience to really challenge those assumptions. So that's where we built actually an agent in Microsoft Copilot itself, fed it like some of the good quality scopes that the team had received, some of the bad quality, and what were the gaps in there. And through that, now the team is using, every time the engineering team gives them the scope document, they will pass it through this Copilot to really bring up like what are the questions that they should go back to the engineering team with, rather than directly going to the tool and starting to estimate. So that's spot framework for everyone. And what I thought what we can do in this session is actually bring it to life. And maybe I thought I'll open the access to this group. You just try it out. It takes about 10-15 minutes. Here's a link. Again, I'm gonna paste it in the Zoom chat. What we can do is like if you want to try, best kind of used on the desktop or laptop than mobile, but try it with your own role. And as you chat, it will actually give you a good view of what are the opportunities in your role that you can even download as a PDF at the end. Let me just share. Great. So you can go to this link, and the access code is also given here. So uh, takes about 10 minutes, unless somebody really wants to like give a lot more details. Again, I would say please don't like give any confidential details, but at least talk to it like it's an agent to really help you discover opportunities in your own function. So just try it out for 10 minutes. Yeah, the work email is needed, but it's not really like sending any magic link or anything. It's just for reference. If anyone have any questions as you guys do it, please feel free to type in or even on the session overall. And as you do it, because it's still in a beta version, so guys, like don't refresh the page. I'd say like complete it and just download the PDF. Then you have your own results that you can take back to your team, to your org, and have it as a handy reference for yourself. Yeah, I think Siddha has raised his hand. You
Yes.
wanna unmute yourself and go ahead?
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to know, is this link going to be active only till the webinar, or we can even use it after the webinar?
You can use afterwards. I just like had to set a limit on the access code, so that generally because we are giving it to corporates, but for the
Mhm.
session, I have created this special access code.
Okay.
If you can't access now, you can use later on.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure. It's a data analyst. Absolutely, Hina. This is a big step, like you said, in life sciences, clinical sciences. I'm assuming, even like I was talking to one of our other IITB alums, uh, even in the drug discovery, how you accelerate that whole process in terms of selection of the audience to kind of test these drugs. Will data be stored? Uh, Sorry, data be stored for the app?
The information that we're putting in into the spot.
Yeah, so it gets saved in, I believe, whichever database we have used, like Supabase, right? But if anybody wants, like, happy to just go ahead and delete it, right? Because we are not using data on an individual basis. It's mainly for anonymized and at an aggregated level to see some insights. But I guess you guys will each get your own opportunity map in the PDF. So that's the most critical thing. Like, maybe you wanna copy paste the link if it doesn't work. Else, I can like shoot me a message later on after the session because session link has been working for people. Has anybody else faced any issues? Do let us know. Else, happy to coordinate with you, Khalik, after the session as well if it doesn't work for you right now. I know, like we are almost maybe like 10 minutes into it. Just wanted to get a sense check, like, how about this? Maybe like if anybody have completed and they want to raise their hand or maybe unmute and just share, not the specific opportunities need not be, but your initial reactions, right? Or uh, like what do you feel, right? Because it's your function and you are seeing the opportunities for your own function. Maybe like one or two people, if they want to participate that way, that will be wonderful. Yeah, Anuj, please go ahead. Yeah, Anuj and Siddha, I think Anuj first, do you
Yeah.
want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I just did that. So this is really interesting. It is giving a sequence of the different workflow map. My question is, how do we use this? What is the utility, and in case somebody wants to use it to build something, how do we take it to the next level? What will be the next step?
Absolutely, Anuj. Thanks for your question. Can I just clarify, like, did you go up to the workflow level, or did it also pass through few more questions to identify what are the opportunities in your workflow?
It has given me multiple steps, like 12 steps in the workflow map.
Okay.
Instead, in the beginning, it had given maybe six. I asked it to elaborate things more, split them
Mhm.
into more granular um,
Right.
steps. So it has now given me a workflow of 12 steps. But I'm stuck here. I'm not sure what will be the next thing after this, after the workflow
Right.
map.
So the next steps are basically it will ask you a few more questions on those steps to really understand maybe the tools that your team uses, right? Or what are the, like, it will just ask a few questions on each of those steps and then give you a set of opportunities. And the way it works is it gives you a good first pass of opportunities, and you can always click on like find me more opportunities. There's a button on the right, bottom right. And the idea is to really start with a brainstorming, because when I have been working with the leaders, right, people are like, hey, I have an AI mandate, but I don't know where to start, right? Or it's about that, hey, my team has already given us access to Microsoft Copilot. We have some Gen AI champions identified, but they're just going in loops. I don't know which use cases to ask them to kind of go building, right? So
Mm.
what this really helps, and Spot is just one like step in the process. It really gives you an initial list of ideas to really start with, that hey, okay, maybe like these could be 10, 12 ideas that I have. And then you would do some impact versus effort, and that's where really the human element is still there, right? After this, you will, like, once you have those opportunities, and I know you are still at the workflow step level, you will really put some like thinking into that. Hey, okay, if I had to build this, what will it really save for me? Okay, this is the impact, right? Can there be a simpler way to build, which my team could build on their own, let's say as a co-pilot, right? Or do we need to go to IT? So that way, you do impact versus effort, and maybe pick 2 to 3 opportunities that you want to work with your central teams on. Maybe some opportunities which are like simple enough to build, some assistive agents that you might want your team members to build for you quickly, right? So that's how people have
Mm.
used it.
Right, Subodh. So here maybe I'm not sure if that already exists, or this might be a suggestion from my side.
Mhm.
Once we have these opportunities identified here, uh, there might be it might be useful to have a way to double click on some of these opportunities. Let's say the step number 11 that I identify, it needs I need further details on that, as to how much effort it will be, what data would be required for that, so that I can see if do I even have access to that data? Does this data get captured right now? Or this I should park for future when I have that data, right? So things like that. If those details are available, maybe I can then identify which opportunities I should brainstorm with my team, uh, or with my peers, other departments.
Absolutely, Anuj, you are pointing to the roadmap that we have, right? Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So I think, sorry, Siddha, you have a question?
Yeah, yes, Subodh. No, I just wanted to mention that I found it quite interesting. The fact that it also prompts those questions proactively, just in order to get more information to provide a more tailored solution. So I really liked that, which is not too common right now with other AI tools. So I found it good. Just one of the things was, I mean, uh, as far as I've understood, I still need to test it further. But then, as far as I've understood, initially, these steps that we were able to generate, they were more for like getting the initial idea and brainstorming, so that we can again then move on to how we should proceed further with our AI integration in the organization. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Siddha. So the purpose it serves, right? And I'm seeing at least, and happy to kind of take other people's view also. And we all work
Mm-hmm.
in corporates, right? Where leaders are really kind of at this point, right? That hey, we have heard a lot about agentic AI, we have been given tools, but I don't know where to start. So I think starting point is what this spot
Mm-hmm.
framework in a way helps to really gives you a tangible set of ideas or a list of ideas specific to your workflow. Even the first step is mapping out the workflow. What I have seen people is everyone is
Mm-hmm.
just talking that hey, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do this, right? It gives a more structured way to really map out your workflow. And secondly, on that workflow, what are the set of opportunities that are possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are not the only opportunities, right? But it's a good starting point and you can play with the tool, maybe expand on the list further.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, like this is a good starting point, and then you start filtering out or maybe prioritizing. That's the second step. um,
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Great. So looks like if anyone else want to share their experience or anything or any questions so far, guys, please go ahead. Else we'll kind of move forward to the next section. But the more interactive we make, the better because it's not too much of content that I want to present. Yeah, Anjali, please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree with Anuj. So if we can zoom in the specific points here, like we get the overall workflow, and so if we can zoom in and see that if there are more opportunities to brainstorm and get more ideas, or if we want to delve in detail in those, that would be like next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but this is a great tool. Like at least for someone like who do not have any experience or who want to start with it, it's a great start.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you that you found it useful. Great. So, guys, so maybe we'll move to the next part, which is about now that we have seen that, hey, what are the opportunities in my own function, right? It's not because some of the pushback that I see people say, hey, is it only for customer service and coding? Because those are the only two use cases we all keep hearing in news, right? Right. So, because those are like tons of big opportunities that people see. But I hope with this spot tool, you are able to see that even in every function you are able to identify bunch of opportunities that can actually transform the way your team or you work, right? And it's about maybe part of your job kind of you are kind of getting done with the agent so that you get more time to kind of review things. So now that we have identified these opportunities, next is that, hey, how do I really go and build, right? So that's the next part of our session. And again, over here, I thought like we, rather than building something really complex, which anyways in a virtual session is always more difficult, right? I thought let me at least like help you visualize as you think of building agents. uh, First you identified these opportunities, now place those opportunities on maybe like three levels, right? One could be lot of your opportunities could be really in level one and level two, and level one is about these assistive agents. It could be simple that hey, every week I have to give a report out about something, right? Can I really automate that reporting? And when I say automate, it may not be fully automated. It could be you kind of feed in the content and you create your agent and it creates that report in a template, saves you at least few hours a week, right? Um,
I
so
think, Subodh, if I can just stop you here, Hina has raised her hand, so just wanted to ask if she has any question.
go ahead.
Hina, uh, do you have any question, or is it the residual raised hand from your last one?
Hi everyone. I can ask my question at the end. It's okay. I will lower my hand right now.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, sure. Right. So I would say like as you scan your opportunities, you have come with a bunch of opportunities. So again, like a blocker for many people is that, hey, I don't know how to build agents and maybe I'll build for some IT team to come and build for us, right? I would say like categorize them into three different tiers. One level is your assistive agents, and these are the agents that you can actually build whether the company have provided, let's say, Microsoft Copilot access, whether it's a Gemini access that you have been given to, right? And same, like we will see actually building Google Gems in a few minutes. But I can tell you it's the same process, basically prompt based. You can build these agents in Microsoft, in OpenAI, depending on whatever the company have provided access to, right? Second tier of agents are, this is where that organizational handoffs in Spot we talked about, right? This is wherein you have to maybe bring data from multiple sources, or it's about interacting with multiple different teams. So kind of those workflow agents, the orchestration agents. This is where like tools like NA10 or even OpenAI has a visual builder. Microsoft has a Copilot Studio. Actually, I should not have said studio on the left. So this is where you can still build these agents without actually writing any code. The core message is threshold of building these products is definitely decreasing, and lot less reliance on really writing the code, more about really building that mindset that, hey, what can I basically really thinking in that agentic manner. Can this piece of my work be done through agents? If so, let me just go and try. Mukul, I think you have raised your hand. Do you wanna ask your question? Okay, maybe it was falsely raised. No worries. Right. And then come the level three agentic systems, right? And these are what are your big bets, right? So this is where you might want to bring, let's say, some like your IT team to build it, some tech experts. And the reason is because a lot of these ideas would also be which are maybe more governance heavy, which have more kind of risk implications, right? And the examples could be, let's say, in an insurance space, if it's a claims triage agent, you want to really replace all the kind of front end stuff in that perspective. Or if it's a, like I'm working with the company here in FMCG, which is looking to build this supply chain control tower. So in a very traditional sense, you would put a team of few people who would be coordinating with suppliers, with the customers to really manage it all. And now we are working with them to really reimagine, like, can we build this supply chain control tower in an agentic manner? So this is where some bit of coding, I would not say coding, some bit of like architectural thinking is needed, but level one and level two are kind of fairly simpler from the perspective that you can give it a try on your own. And in that sense, I would say, like, let's get into the second exercise that we have, which is I thought we'll build a simple level one assistive agent, uh, pure play prompt based, because for a large group, we had a few constraints, like we wanted to use a free tool. So I thought we'll use Google's Gemini app website, and we'll create a gem on it. And the use case I'm thinking, and feel free if you want to try any other use case from the spot that you found. But Gemini, I must say, this gems has fairly limited capabilities, but I thought let's try here, and then at least you get a starting point. The use case that I thought through that we can try is converting the marketing video content into SEO friendly blogs. So the context is, let's say you are a part of a SaaS company's marketing team, and you're doing tons of webinars about the new features that your product can do. In a traditional sense, the marketing team will then also convert that into blogs, post it on blog, and they might even want to do email marketing, right? So that's called content repurposing. I thought we'll take this as a very small example of building an agent, right? And then at least experience like what an agent building takes and where it tends to fail. So for this exercise, again, let me paste these in Zoom. If you can all like try opening gemini.google.com. I'm gonna paste the instructions here. And I'm gonna go do it alongside. So just sharing the instructions first. Okay, the second piece is a little longer, but all it does is basically, let me just paste it and then I'll come back to it. Great. Now I'm gonna open Gemini. Great. So if you can open this gemini.google.com and then go to, on the left panel, go to gems. in that you will see like gems made by labs. Scroll down because these are their experimental ones. I have seen like it's an attempt but doesn't work very well. But so if you can go down to gems manager, and over here you will find a button called new gem. So if you come to this screen, and then I have sent the content just for reference, but feel free if you want to like try building. But what it does is basically to create an agent, you just give it its name, a brief description, which is just for your reference. Instructions is what's the most important piece, that you really give it a persona. Like, what does this agent do? You don't see gems. Are you on the same web page and on the left you don't see gems, is it? Okay, this is interesting. We thought this is one of the more brief. Is it right below the lens icon? So on the left, if you see, maybe your panel, like I'm doing it now, so maybe your panel needs to be expanded, like the left panel. Maybe it's collapsed by default. So I'll go step by step. So first step is like if you can reach this screen of gems. Okay, we'll solve the copy paste challenge as well. Let me see if we are able to copy paste or
I
not.
think you need to click on the settings at the right bottom to see the option gem.
Okay, so maybe it's the Chromebook thing or again, I'm able to copy paste the prompt from the Zoom chat. Like I know this is the other thing that somebody had raised. Okay, so maybe I'll build it, and guys, hopefully this helps to kind of at least kind of get a sense of it. So let's say it's a content repurposing agent that you want to build, and its job is to basically to transform video content into SEO friendly blogs, right? And then I just wanted to showcase, right, like how easy all of these platforms have made to create your own agents. Like this is a simple idea that we thought through. And let's say now you give it some instructions, which basically defines the persona of that agent. Like what's your core job? Your job is that you are a content repurposing agent. You are here to convert webinars that are hosted on YouTube into well-structured blogs, right? So, and then user will provide a YouTube link. You can watch or read the transcript and give the blog. So I could just go and save and create this agent. But other thing is also, you know, like what I have seen, these tools have become our best teachers. All these like key tools. I would say maybe let's try like let Gemini rewrite these instructions, right? Because with the base prompt, it can actually expand on the prompt to do a much better job, and your agents are only as good as your prompt, right? So like definitely a few other things matter, but prompt is the more crucial one. So let's hope this one works. Okay, great. So let's now look into it. So what it does is it really expanded on the prompt and hopefully added a few more nuances that will guide the prompt to guide the agent to consistently deliver a good quality and a consistent output, right? So let's say what it does is it defines its primary goal. Then it just defines this purpose, goals in a little bit more details, the behavior of the agent, right? Then it brings up, which I didn't really add in the instruction, like SEO friendly. So this is great. In a even better prompt, I would have probably asked it like stylistic guides, maybe like header H1, H2 kind of thing, or maybe the para lens, right? So it's all about like how much better do you want the prompt to be. But let's say at least this is a good first pass for us. And then you go and save. Right? So what it does is it creates this agent for us. And this agent has the capability that it can actually go access the YouTube link that we'll give it and read the transcription and then create a blog for us. So I'm gonna maybe use one of these links that I had shared as reference as well. It could be any, but I just picked one of the HubSpot's uh, YouTube link for our session just to give it an example. Let me just open it here first. Okay, so what this video is all about is, oh, guys, my machine is let me come back to it. Okay, let's try pasting. All right, so I hope everyone's with me. So let's say this agent that we created, I'm giving it a YouTube video link. What it will do, and sometimes we can even see the actions that it's taking, right? It's basically accessing your YouTube, and then based on the video content, it actually came with this blog content, right? Now, I know this is a very basic level use case that we have touched upon, but the key thing is that what we saw is the capabilities of LLM that we saw, that it can actually reason and plan that, hey, what's the task that I'm given? Then in terms of tool access, in this case, it actually accessed YouTube, right? Basically internet browsing. And through that, it was able to go through that video, see the transcription, and based on the transcription, created this blog, right? Now this is one thing, right? And we had asked it to maybe like give a CTA. Right now it's just giving an generic one. That's where what really comes in handy is, let's say if you want to refine the agent further, so you can go to gems. And in gems, so right now we gave it a bunch of instructions, but what you can also do is if you scroll down, you can actually attach some knowledge pieces. Let's say you want to attach some brand voice, or maybe some instruction that, hey, these are the kind of words we never use, or in the CTA at the end of the blog, always refer to maybe contact@company.com, right? Like what are those instructions? Sometimes you can also give it in this knowledge format for it to refer to. So it's as simple as like any PDF, any Word file that you have, just create it and attach it as a knowledge set. This becomes that context layer of the agents that we talked about, right? So that it will converse based on the context that it's given. Now, I also want to show, like, I know this is a basic level agent, but good to actually see the limitations, right? Now, let's say we created this agent. Now it's internal facing, but maybe let's say how can somebody use it beyond, right? If I say, hey, what's the weather in, I don't know, let's say, I hope it answers because what I just want to show is this is where the last part, the boundary conditions comes in, right? You don't want any agent, especially if it's external facing, right, to really give the outputs beyond what it's supposed to do, right? Now in GEMS, the limitation is also that even if I give the instructions, which I will try to, but let's see. Let's say you want to set some boundary conditions. So maybe in the instructions, in the end, let's try to write like never respond to any queries beyond creating content from video, especially no responses to queries related to, say, politics, like in my experience, gems are not really good at following those kind of guidelines, and that's why they are very much like assistive agents that you might want to use just for your kind of internal use cases. But now that we have created it, we can still give it a try and see, right? Like, okay, it's searching, so that means it's still not following those conditions, right? So that's what brings me to the point, like Google Gemini is just one tool. I thought, like, just to introduce, because let's say in your company, if you have Microsoft Copilot, very much the same thing. If you are in ChatGPT, what we can do, and given the limitation that not everyone has the paid version of OpenAI available, what I did was I thought maybe on my screen I can at least show like how you can create custom GPTs. So in ChatGPT on the left, you see something called GPTs when you have a paid version, and you can like explore GPTs, which is nothing but again their agent. They are just calling it like GPTs and custom GPTs. What you can do, let's say you go to create, and very much the same thing you can do. The format is kind of same. All these prompt-based agent builders, you give it a name, a description, a bunch of instructions that you want it to do. This is a little bit more advanced in a way that you can give it some conversation starters that can actually show up here. Let's say whatever you do, like so that on your chat window, it comes up. Same thing, knowledge base, you can attach any files if you want to attach to this agent. So before the session, what I did for our demonstration, I created this thing called sales deal risk analyst. Let's say we are a SaaS company, assuming, right? And we have a lot of these sales calls happening. Sellers are going and doing these sales calls. And as a leader, you want to see that, hey, across my deals, what are the major red flags or risks, right? Or maybe you're going into a call with a client and you want to see what are the risks. So I just created the sales deal risk analyst, with wherein I have given it a bunch of instructions, a persona that you are a deal risk analyst for a B2B sales team that analyzes the transcripts of the meetings, right? And you find the risks. You identify the direct quotations from this transcript that are red flags, and also be brutally honest, right? And herein I have tried to define the limit that, hey, be super crisp and answer in less than 100 words. So what this agent does is, then let's maybe try it out. I created a transcript. So how you can use it in practical sense is, let's say in almost all the companies nowadays, the B2B calls are recorded, right? And you have a download of that, whether in an audio or a video form. Let's say I have an audio transcript, sorry, a video transcript. So what I can do is, let me just, I just created it for our session. Let's say this is a call that happened maybe a week before, wherein people from our sales, from our product teams join a client meeting to give them a product demo, right? So this is a transcript that is generated again by, let's say, your Copilot, if it's a Microsoft system that you're using. So you have the whole call transcript. And in this, as a leader, you don't want to just rely on your team to just come and tell you that, hey, these are the red flags that I have, right? Or maybe you don't have enough time, you have more sellers than you can manage. So all you can do is this I'm doing manually, but you can even automate like, hey, that whatever sales transcripts are kind of coming up every week for my team, give me the risks from those calls, right? So let's say I record, attach the call transcript here, and then I ask it like, give me the red flags for this deal. So, and we have given it a prompt. So all it does is again, right, like based on the prompt that's there, it will go through this call recording and show you like what are the risks that you should be aware of as a leader. Again, the point here is building agents. I would say assistive agents nowadays is simpler. It's more about really thinking through what ideas you want to build. If you want to kind of go to the next level, there are more visual builders available. NA10, OpenAI also has one. So those can be brought in practice if you want to build more of the visual builders. Cool. So this was the exercise. I know like some of the people tried it on their own. Again, like if anyone have any questions or want to bring up anything, please do let me know. Great. If not, so like what we did here was really define the problem, like so far what we did, which is through the spot framework. Then we built an agent around it and we really shifted ourselves, right, from being a user to a designer. So I think that's the core message I just wanted to pass on. Um, and that's pretty much it, guys. I think rest is all about like as you start building, the key thing is about what bulk of our participants also raised, right? The governance piece as you start building agents, or maybe your teams, tech teams are building agents. Key thing is really asking about the right questions about that. Hey, how are we really managing the governance around it? Whether it's the data access to those agents, whether it's about who all can access the agents, right? So definitely put your best effort to really align with the organizational guardrails. And the second thing I have seen working best is really defining the boundaries, what the agent is supposed to do. The best practice I have seen is really start with human in the loop use cases. And as you build more confidence in your use cases, in your agents, then gradually expand that autonomy. So that's about it. I would say like in the spirit of learning, my take would be like please do kind of go and immerse yourself further now with this basic exposure that you have received from the session, be it really like using it on a day-to-day basis through your co-pilots or driving conversation on where you can go and build something.
Ankur has his raised
Ankur, please
hand.
go ahead.
Hi Subodh. I think I have this generic question like suppose like I have tried to build some agents before, like at least use them in for my
Mhm.
purpose, like especially in the GPT. My question is like how do we evaluate like whether the agent like when we go there, like we see a lot of agents been posted already, and even if we create one for ourselves, how do we have like what's the best practices, like do we keep on evaluating like the performance, like the answers the agent is or maybe the tasks the agent is performing are consistent, or are they deprecating over time, and what's the trigger where we have to re-ask the question, especially change the context or add something. So how does it work out? Like that's what I fail
No,
at.
that's a fantastic one, Ankur. And I think, see, there are a few ways how you evaluate the performance, and it's a continued cycle, right? One of the very basic techniques I have seen is using a golden data set. Basically, like what we do, for example, with one of the clients, we ask them to give us a bunch of questions and the relevant, let's say, answers that it's supposed to answer, because this was built we built an agent which was really humongous set of data, and the data was also lot of scanned documents, lot of PDFs, Word documents, right? So the challenge is always is even the data getting passed properly, right? So one is using that golden data set and really assessing the accuracy, and then where you are confident varies by the use case, and that's where if it's human in the loop, maybe your 80% accuracy is good enough because it's saving a lot of time. And sometimes you actually create additional levers to really build that confidence. For example, you might want to bring in some citations in your answers, right? So that way you're not relying on just the answer. You can quickly check, hey, is it referring to the latest version of the documents? If it's that, right? So few different techniques that helps you build the trust. Now your question is valid. Maybe over time it's deprecating, right? So again, use case by use case, you would need to kind of evaluate. And that also kind of brings that same point, right? A teammate might get demotivated over time and maybe throwing up stuff which is not making sense, right? So AI is like that teammate that you have to handle. It's not really an automation for sure, which you build once and just live with it. Even the underlying models as they change, even though they are commoditizing, sometimes there is some model change happened in OpenAI, and maybe your agent's response and the accuracy starts to shift, right? So that's where it's a continued learning journey. Many a times you can put it as an ongoing feedback of the users, like a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I know some of those are more in the custom apps that we build, right? The GPTs may not enable that feature right away for you, but yeah, eventually humans kind of are providing that ongoing feedback.
Got it.
We have Siddha with her hand raised.
Hi, Subodh. Just one question here, especially, and that was a very good demonstration for Chat GPT, creating GPTs. So just wanted to know, when we are actually creating our own GPTs, how can we prevent the GPT to not get into those hallucinations that it sometimes gets into and generates wrong results. Like, say, for example, in research, any kind of research, they might end up giving some wrong sources or references that actually do not exist at all. So when it is a normal GPT, Chat GPT, we still can understand, but the moment I'm creating my own GPT, I am actually more responsible for the output it is generating. So how can I actually prevent hallucinations in that case?
Absolutely, Siddha. So there are definitely ways you can reduce hallucinations,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's through tighter prompts, whether it's through, let's say, multi-layering. You get the GPT to respond and maybe get another LLM to check, right? But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, AI is all about probability, right? The models have improved in the past couple of years. Hallucinations have gone down, but honestly, it's not a time wherein the hallucinations are not there. I would say even the same question might get a little bit different response, even if not inaccurate each time you ask. And
Mm-hmm.
that's AI, right? So the key is about how do you design the process around use of that GPT, right? Are you directly exposing those outputs and giving it to your client? Probably
Mm-hmm.
not the right way. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
a human in the loop wherein an expert or maybe let's say one of the team members reviews and just do a sanity check? That's
Mm-hmm.
probably the right way to go ahead. So the way I generally work with clients is how do you design your processes, right? So that's where when you bring these AI agents,
Mm-hmm.
it's also about re-engineering your existing processes, work processes, to
Mm.
ensure that whatever you're delivering is not compromising on quality, but actually enhancing the productivity.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Subodh. We have a couple of questions in the chat as well. So I'll
Okay.
read those questions. So the first one is, can you touch upon multi-agent framework?
Absolutely. No, that's where things are headed. And in a very simple way, uh, let's say you have this one is a meeting transcription agent, other is let's say deal risk agent, and very practically you can build it in OpenAI. And in the same chat, you can actually call these two agents. Let's say after the meeting is done, you want to call that, hey, at the rate meeting summary agent, give me a summary, and also at the rate deal risk agent, give me the risks in this. So this is where the world is headed. I would say, uh, even from a practice perspective, the way you should think of your use cases is build the agents to do one dedicated job and then bring those army of agents to really help you orchestrate more of your workflows, right? Rather than having one agent to do multiple jobs. Does this answer your question? I know this is a much broader topic when we say multi-agent orchestration, even from a technical perspective, but just wanted to kind of give a more use case perspective view on that.
Subodh, hi, this is Venus. So I wanted to understand, is there a way we can, kind of do it ourselves? Like, are there tools available to kind of play the multi-agent scenarios? And like,
Absolutely.
what kind of tools can be used?
And absolutely, I would say two simple one that I would recommend you to use. One, OpenAI, the custom GPT that we build. Let's say you build two or three GPTs, then you don't need to go to that specific GPT to chat, right? In a normal chat, while you're chatting, you just call your agents at the rate, let's say the deal risk agent, right? So this is where your multi-agent kind of framework or orchestration starts to happen. Same thing, Claude actually does it beautifully as well. So I would say these two platforms. And the other thing I would add is like today's session, okay, like 90 minutes, it's kind of gives a starting point. But honestly, let these tools, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, become your teacher because they themselves will teach you so much, whatever questions are coming to your mind as you start building.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. I know then.
Thank you, Subodh. We have a few questions more in the chat. So shall I go ahead? We
Yeah,
can
please go
quickly.
ahead. Yeah.
The second one is on the flashlight model didn't adhere to guardrail, where flash model did. I think this is not a question, more like a comment. So the another question is there any
Okay.
implementation going for autonomous agents? How far are we seeing those in enterprise?
So again, varies by the use case. Autonomous agents, are they already serving some purposes? Yes. 100% I need to think, but let's say in coding, right? There are a lot of use cases. I was talking to actually one of this Waterloo-based companies here. They are doing their coding in a agentic manner, and a mid-scale company, any product requirement change comes in, right? They have built this army of agents to really do coding, then the code push and everything, and but still the final step they have left it to the leader to really before they pull this request and merge in the main branch. But let's say customer service is a good use case, I would say, right? Autonomous agents already working. What they are given instructions is maybe in extreme cases they will escalate, right? Or in maybe use cases where they don't have any knowledge base, they will escalate it. So customer service definitely I have seen as a use case, autonomous agents working fantastic.
Thank you. So we have this last question on the chat. So what do you think of Vellum AI? Found it very user friendly.
Yeah, it could be. And again, like I saw their product a year back. I know they have also evolved over time. It's more about, I think, what the question was asked about evaluations of models. At least that's where they used to play. I know each company, guys, is expanding their product suite. So I don't know where their latest product kind of serves a purpose. Earlier, it used to be to evaluate your models and on an ongoing basis, how do you really keep a tab, like what's your accuracy level, how do you maybe whether to use one LLM model or the other, quick evaluations.
Thank you, Subodh. Now, before we end our session today, I just want to check, do we have more questions?
Oh, I
First,
see some interesting, I don't know if it's a comment or a question. Khalik have mentioned something. Can Mark,
going.
the manager of SVT with the pump, have an AI agent forecast? Oh, yeah, yeah. So this, when we say agentic AI, right, it doesn't really replace the work that machine learning has been offering. Agentic is about you are giving it the ability to act. But machine learning techniques are still in play in a lot of these use cases, right? Because LLMs are good at more of the qualitative context. But let's say you want to predict the failure, you still use the ML models, but now your agent calls those ML models rather than the human kind of acting on those. So good question. So maybe the illustration, the way I shared was like, hey, we have moved to agentic, replacing ML, not really. It's actually incorporating ML and humans in that agentic loop.
Awesome. We have Hina's hand raised up.
Um, Hi, Subodh. I don't have specifically a question, but it's just a comment like what I was referring to earlier. Whenever we talk about life sciences, everyone's thinking about, the biotech companies, drug discovery. But just from my everyday practical experiences these days, as lab scientists, we do an experiment and we have huge amounts of data uh, and we want to get insight from the data, but so in this case, I know how I want to analyze the data is just time consuming. And, a lot of, like I would say, wet lab scientists, they don't have programming skills. So I see this agentic AI application as it's like a big opportunity in this uh, area, which I feel doesn't get a lot of attention because what's usually done for lab scientists is like software is designed with a web-based, a web user interface, but you know with the amount of data, the insight we get is usually very limited, and there is a lot of public data sets that we would like to integrate, and then we spend a lot of time sort of analyzing the data manually, and it takes a lot of time to publish. So yes, I feel this was very useful, but of course we have some limits because we work with let's say human data, healthcare information. So we have a lot of limits on what we can upload and in like the web-based tools. And I know that our organization has an a special access to Copilot. And I was wondering if like if I wanted to design a workflow to do some processing of my data, could I do it in that?
Hina, firstly, thank you so much for the question. And I do understand in regulated industries like this, always a little bit of a challenge. And I work a lot with similar industries. To your question, yes, you can actually use Copilot. I would say Copilot Studio would enhance the abilities even further with a lot of those workflow based, like where you want to connect the data from. But at the very basic level, even similar to GEMS, in Copilot also, I'm sure you can build something good. Plus, based on your organization's access that they have given, right? Like right now, I have seen Claude has been doing really fabulous job in terms of doing a lot of the stuff that you mentioned. Happy to connect afterwards. If there is a specific
Yes.
ask, I can help you brainstorm at least for a short while, right? To help you
Yes,
really.
yes, I would
Yeah.
like to really connect because I can tell you from my like just from because I've been in research like forever. And usually what happens is and like small medium sized labs, we don't have huge funds, but what happens is we have all this data to analyze, and then a bioinformatician is hired, or we have an informatics platform, and they charge us like $100 an hour, and sometimes just to do some really basic stuff, and then we get the results, and we are like, oh, we would like to do it this way or this way, and then we spend a huge amount of our limited research funds without having any output.
Sure,
And
we can
I'm
have a
just
chat
surprised
actually.
that there is not more of a push towards implementing some of this AI agents in our workflows. I don't, at least where I am, I don't see a huge push for this.
Now
Thanks,
that
Hina.
you're aware, hopefully you can you can make the push. And like I said, we can connect offline, Hina. Happy to
Okay,
brainstorm
yes,
further.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank,
much.
thanks, Hina. So before we end our session today, I just want to take 60 seconds for something very important to our IITSC community. So most of you are either part of or are engaged in the IFI program, and we genuinely want to know how it is landing for you. So what's working, what could be better, and what you would love to see more of. So we have put together a short pulse check survey, and it takes under 2 to 3 minutes. And your honest input directly shapes where we go next. So I'm dropping the link here in the chat. If you can fill it before we wrap up today, that would be great. If not, watch your inbox and we'll send a follow-up email as well. So the survey is here. I have pasted it in the chat. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. And now I will hand it over to Ankur for closing the session today. Ankur, over to you.
Hello. So first of all, thanks to Subodh for such a informative and detailed session, and especially with the set of audience covering like all through the base as well as going like answering the questions really well. I personally found the session really exciting, and I learned a lot. I think I'll be able to implement the learnings and definitely connect with Subodh to understand more about what we can use on this. I believe like the it was a really excellent session, and yeah. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Subodh. I think he has provided the LinkedIn, and yeah. So I think um, with said that, I will hand it over to Vipaji, who is the VP admin, to for her final remarks on the session and vote of thanks.
Viva, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Because you're on mute here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect. Thank you. Um, it was really impressive, Subodh. Thank you so much for bringing. And as you saw very early on, that there was like people are. This group is very like scholarly, and we all had a lot of background in AI and especially agentic AI. So this like creating this kind of interest was very impressive. And so thank you so much, Subodh. And on behalf of our president and the entire board, I just want to thank you once again, and also to all the speakers, because those who both brought in the valuable insights and all the perspectives, but your interaction, your questions, your ideas, everything really added some depth and energy to the session. So thank you everyone for this great, and the organizers too, Anjali and Ankur, great job. Deeply appreciate the time and the expertise and all the enthusiasm this whole group brought into this event. So thanks once again, and I will not take much time. I know we are above time. So thanks again, and see you at the next event.
Thank you all. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks, everyone. Ankur, did we take a photo? You're on mute, Ankur.
I can take another. I took few, but this one I can take.
Okay. Unfortunately, again, some issue with my camera. It stopped working.
No issues. Yeah, I think yeah, I have taken a bunch. Like I took throughout the session.
Yeah, thank you. And it was really insightful session, Subodh. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Like Viva said, the key thing is questions that everyone asked and engaged. Loved it. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Bye.